Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone in Twitchland. As always, this is Greg Spillon, the Painter Servant on the Grindstone. Thanks for joining in on this particular episode. As usual, scan that QR code, check out my socials, find that link tree, and click on any of the tabs on the left to find out a little bit more about what I'm about. Twitch, Commander Decks, Sublime MTG Alters, Alliance Military Magic Players, and then if you are searching TCG Player for your singles purchases, please feel free to use my affiliate link. Alright, so we have something special today, just the Alters highlights and the deck tech, of course, as previously posted. But before we get into that, we want to make sure we highlight my wife and her sister, Michiko and Kumiko, respectively, at Sublime MTG Alters. And again, scan that QR code, check out the socials, and all the stuff that they've done. If you like hand-painted artworks that are done to perfection, we visualize your intent and make sure that we can provide everything that we think you need when it comes to embellishing your commanders or favorite cards. So check us out. And then, of course, the Alliance of Military Magic Players, otherwise abbreviated as AMMP. We're a global group that caters to all kinds of service members as long as they support the United States military. And doesn't matter if you're in the Army, Marines, Navy, Coast Guard, Space Force, Air Force, etc. We want to connect with y'all. So scan that QR code too, and you can join some of our groups, including our Discord server. All right, so let's get into the meat of what we're trying to do today. And we're going to set up our playmat so we can display the altars that were done. So it's a 3-part stream, just the typical thing that we do. If we're not playing Commander on Saturdays or CEDH Sundays. So we want to do the altars highlight for the 2 altars that were recently done. Michiko, we're going to show her Rhythm of the Wild in the style of Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind. And then we're also going to show Kumiko's altar, which was of Major Motoko Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell. And I think it's appropriate, we'll start in that order. And I prepared a script. I want to make sure we do this right, because before it was kind of a smattering of just, hey, this is a cool altar, what do y'all think? I'll do a little bit of that, but I'll definitely give it more of a flavorful script, so I hope you all can enjoy that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and display Michiko's altar, and yeah, let's go. Let's do this. All right. Ew, that's weird. Not sure why that's showing the way it is. Let's see what's going on here. And sorry for the delay. It looks like there's some difficulties going on. What is happening here? Yeah, I don't know what happened there. All right, so I think my screen might just conk out. So let's see if we can make an adjustment here and get going. Jesus. All right, so all right, this is really funky. Not sure what's going on here. Okay, I think that'll be it for now. All right, so let's talk about Michiko's altar. This is an altar done on Rhythm of the Wild. And so if you're not familiar with the anime, it's called Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. And so Michiko did this altar. It's pretty amazing. Very highly detailed, very interesting color palette. But if anyone remembers the scene from Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, where the Ohmus are basically agitated, they go nuts, and then they start if I recall correctly, they start charging down this field. And then you can see kind of in the foreground a very small image of Nausicaa on her little glider. And then we have, I forget the name of the character, which Nausicaa is very enamored with. He's a warrior. And then the birds that are part of that particular world. So the highlight here is you have the glowing eyeballs of the Ohmu, which they turn bright red when they're angry. And so the cool thing about this altar is that you have it in foil. So if you follow our page and you see some of the work that's been done, you know that we do a pretty damn good job with basically accentuating the foils. So I'm just going to bring that up very closely there. And then just talk a little bit about that, just give it a little bit more flavor. So the art of the Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind blends delicate beauty with overwhelming dread, creating a world that feels alive and unpredictable. Soft watercolor skies and lush toxic jungles contrast with the sudden terrifying force of the Ohmu. When angered, their many eyes blaze a vivid red, and the earth trembles beneath their synchronized charge. The animation captures their movement with weight and inevitability, like a natural disaster made conscious. Each frame builds tension, the glow intensifies, the sound swells, and fear becomes unavoidable. Yet, even in their rage, the Ohmu are rendered with reverence, their intricate shells and flowing motion revealing a deeper intelligence. The art doesn't simply portray monsters, it presents guardians of a wounded world. In their fury, we see not evil, but a reflection of imbalance, nature striking back with unstoppable, haunting power. So, if you don't know what Rhythm of the Wild does, it's a card. It's a colorless, a red, and a green, and I think it allows you to choose two modes. For which I think non-token creatures, when they enter the battlefield, there's an ETB trigger, which you can choose one of two, one to give it haste and one to give it +1/+1 counter. So as long as it's an ETB that you choose. I think this is pretty much speaks to the character of the art and the movie, but also you know, for the cards and the effects that you want to have creatures have when they enter the battlefield. So I hope you enjoyed that. We tried something new with giving it a little bit of a flavorful script when talking about this. So yeah, it turns out this altar is actually still for sale. So if you're interested in picking this up, definitely go check out the page, shoot us a PM, and we can get it out to you. We're gonna go to sleeve this up because beautiful artwork and beautiful, a beautiful card needs to be placed properly in a sleeve and the very cool magnetic card holder. So we're gonna go and put that in and then get that shipped out. Of course, we need to sell it first. So if you're interested, again, check us out and just follow us, follow our socials, follow everything that we're doing, where we're at, and we'll connect. Thanks. All right, so the next one we're gonna show is Kumiko's altar. So the unfortunate thing is I don't have it on hand, it's in Japan. Well, we're just gonna do a quick highlight and just talk about it. Here we go. All right, so what you see here on the screen is an altar done using the likeness of Major Motoko Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell. So I think it's amazing. All the artwork that my wife and her sister do are all amazing, right? So this is Kumiko. Of course, she specializes in anime and she loves to do that. There's a lot of details involved. And it's a very sexy character, right? Major Motoko Kusanagi. It kind of elicits a visceral kind of feeling when you watch the anime, but also when you just look at the painting done on this card. So let's give it another flavorful script. So yeah, the visual language of Ghost in the Shell is a masterclass in atmosphere, blending cyberpunk grit with meditative stillness. Its hand-painted cityscapes glow with neon reflections and rain-soaked textures, creating a world that feels both futuristic and eerily human. At the center is Motoko Kusanagi, whose design balances strength, elegance, and quiet sensuality. Her iconic thermoptic suit scenes emphasize form and motion, not for shock, but to explore identity, where the body becomes both weapon and question. The film's art lingers on her presence, calm, confident, and introspective, embodying a fusion of machine precision and human vulnerability. Subtle lighting and composition elevate her allure into something more philosophical than purely physical. In this way, the artistry of Ghost in the Shell doesn't just depict beauty, it interrogates it, asking what it means to feel, to exist, and to be seen in a world where the line between human and artificial has dissolved. All right. Yeah, so we're trying that out, some cool things with that. I hope you liked Ghostly Prison with the Major in Ghost in the Shell. Unfortunately, this altar sold immediately, and we're gonna get that altar out to the customer, the buyer, and it's gonna ship shortly. So that's gonna go from Japan to its destination in the southeast part of the world of Asia. So looking forward to that. I think it was an amazing altar. Did you like any of the stuff that we put out? I hope you do, and I hope you did. Just depends on how long you've been following us. But reach out to us. We have a commission window open, as a matter of fact. We're doing the evaluation period at the moment. And if you reach out to us on the Facebook page, you'd be able to get an idea of whether or not a commission request you have meets our interest and of our willingness to do it. So keep us in mind when you're trying to get all that figured out. All right, I think it's appropriate now to switch to the next thing, which will be talking about our deck tech. Okay. So before we get into the actual visual look of the deck, we're going to go check out the Moxfield screen. And let's see what's going on here. Looks like my face cam is acting up again. It's all good. No, that's not what we want. We want this one. Yep. Okay. Why Twitch has been messing with me lately, I don't know. But here we are. Okay. So we're going to talk about Toph, the First Metalbender. And the way I design most of my decks, if you don't already know, is I try to do bracket 4. Generally speaking, that's kind of my standard. But if I do make something less than a bracket 4, it's probably because I want to have a variation in deck construction, so I can have a bracket 3 that I can play with my friends if they don't want to play bracket 4. All right, cool. So Toph, the First Metal Bender. I might have said the First Metal Airbender. What the hell? But Toph, the First Metal Bender. It's in a Naya deck, green or red, green, white, and it's part of the recent set that came out from Avatar. And it's really cool. I think the mechanic is amazing to do earth banning. So let's just read what Toph actually does. Non-token artifacts you control are lands in addition to their other types. Then it says, at the beginning of your end step, earthband 2. So when you earthband, target land you control becomes a 0/0 creature with haste that's still a land. You put 2/1/1 counters on it. And when it dies or is exiled, returns to the battlefield tapped. So I'm going to talk about some combos with the deck and kind of what you can expect out of it. But you really want to just take full advantage of the earthbanding mechanic because when your lands are also creatures, it kind of turns into, I think, what a lot of people call like a lands matters deck. It's not quite fully lands matters. You might feel like this is reminiscent of like a Lord Windgrace build or a Hearthhold, the Worldseed build. But you know, there are options out there. I prefer, if I can, to swing in hard with the lands. There's lots of earthbending creatures. There's quite a bit of removal, and then there's an infinite combo enabler done through at least 2 cards. One being a mana positive rock, and then a card called Storm Cauldron. Anyway, we'll talk about that as we go along. So what kind of a deck is this? This is a bracket 4 deck because I have 5 game changers. So if you recall from the bracket list 1 through 5, if you exceed 3 game changers, you go immediately into the bracket 4 category. But this is not CDH because this will never contend with a CDH deck. It's just pretty freaking awesome. But it doesn't combo out very quickly, like I think what CDH is usually designed for. And you can probably win with this deck as early as turn 6. I would say not earlier, because I prefer to win through land creatures. Okay, so the game changers include Gaia's Cradle, Mana Vault, Crop Rotation, Ancient Tomb, and Enlightened Tutor. We have some mass land denial, but there's no extra turn cards, obviously, because there's no blue in here. But that's the list there. Let's talk about some of the things that are in here. So Planeswalkers, we have 2, starting with the ready. And the ready, really what I use them for is for the draw engine that it has. It's not really an engine, it just enables a good draw, but also discarding stuff. If artifacts are in the graveyard that are high CMC, you want to bring that back into play. That's always an option because there are several artifacts in here or things that can turn stuff into artifacts where you can take advantage of Duretti's -2. Garruk Wildspeaker, I think, in my mind, I always thought it was great. This could get cut. It just depends. I like to use it for its +1 ability to untap lands, but then also if I have a high number of counters on it, I can -4 keep them around to have my creatures get overrun ability. So I like that. Gaze Cradle, if you're playing Gaze Cradle and you're considering an untap effect, you can use Garruk as one of those. Okay, so I mentioned as far as the use of Duretti. So sometimes I could pitch Angel of the Ruins to plane cycling, and then try to bring it back into play with Duretti. That's always an option. That's great. Good removal for your opponent's enchantments or artifacts. We have a Shia, really cool. Not exactly a combo piece in the deck, but it allows you to turn your creatures into, forests. And then there's a removal here that I'll talk about later, Oblivion Stone, Perilous Vault, which either destroys or exiles non-land permanents. You can keep your creatures around, and then your artifacts, which by virtue of the static ability of Toph, they are also land, so they'll stick around. Then we get into kind of the earthbending package. You have Avatar Kyoshi, pretty awesome. And then she, let's see, does she flip? No, she doesn't flip. That's there's the other thing that flips. Badgermole Cub is an amazing card. I mean, at some point, I think they're probably going to abandon it in Standard. I don't play Standard, but this is great in any sort of, I would say, format outside of Standard. Nets you a lot more mana. You get to Earthbend and then basically tap out for an additional green, which is awesome. Bright Glass Gearhulk, really awesome card. The only issue is, in my mind, is the double green, double white pips to play it, but you get to search out some of your artifacts and or enchantments and creatures with mana value 1 or less. So this has a lot of targets. Obviously your Soul Ring, your Mana Vault, your Esper Sentinel, etc. And then if Bright Glass Gearhulk is Earthbent and dies, it can come back into play, ETB, get the trigger again. More along the lines of your earthbending creatures, Boomy is great. The mono green Boomy and then the red green Boomy, they're both awesome, which will enable either extra combats or just allowing you that when you attack, you can put counters on each land creature you control. Earthbending Student, great card. Turns your also earthbends. Your land creatures have vigilance, so they can attack. And then basically tap for mana later. Earth Kingdom General, pretty awesome. Earthbends, of course. But then whenever counters are put on a creature, you gain that much life. I think if you try to optimize a little bit more, this could be one of the cards that can get cut, but that's no problem, at least for me. Because when I play this deck, it seems pretty powerful, even though you have creatures like this, which aren't exactly vanilla, but they're not exactly that great either. And then just for shits and giggles, I wanted to throw in the Praetors, Elish Norn, both versions, the +2/-2, because it's really fun to get your land creatures get buffs and your creatures that your opponents control get -2/-2. Then I have Elish Norn Mother Machine. So it turns out in this deck there are a lot of ETBs. You can stop your opponent's ETBs and then just double up on yours. Esper Sentinel, it's an artifact creature, so if it dies after being Earthbent, it'll just come back into play. Pretty awesome. And you can put counters on it too, so your opponents will have to pay more if they want to prevent you from drawing a card. Forgotten Ancient, great card to put to play. Moving around +1/+1 counters, and you can do that any number of different ways amongst any number of creatures during your upkeep. Awesome card. Great Divide Guide. So your artifacts, which turn into lands, are basically chromatic lanterns. This is a chromatic lantern on a stick. Hamza, honestly, so I put this in the deck, and I think it's amazing because there's so many creatures that you have with +1/+1 counters on it that if you wanted to play even more creatures, they're at reduced costs, right? So creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. So imagine playing out an Elesh Norn for 2 mana, or a Vorinclex for 2 mana, or even just, yeah, because it's just the pips that you're worried about. Kamal, Heart of Krosa, is amazing. 8-drop creature. You know, also you could reduce the cost by using Hamza, right? But of the casting cost of Kamal. But you have an overrun on a stick again. And then you can turn your creatures, or I'm sorry, your lands into creatures. So your artifacts, which are now lands due to Toph, you can make them creatures anyway if they weren't earth bent, and then you could swing in for overrun damage. They have vigilance, indestructible, and haste. Pretty awesome. Maria, Scholar of Antiquity. What you'll find out is there are a lot of times when you're just straight up hellbent. You don't have cards in hand. So great for your mana ramping, but also great to play out cards from the top of your deck if you start running out of cards in hand. Metalworker, awesome, clearly a combo piece. Soul Ring on a stick, it's actually a lot better than a Soul Ring when you think about it. Mid game and then long game, end game. Reveal any number of artifacts in your hand. So I play Metalworker as long as I can play a lot of other artifacts, but I'm going to highlight that there's 3 artifact lands in the deck. So whenever I play Metalworker, there's a likelihood I'm playing those artifact lands in the deck. You'll see them later. Mirror Entity, pretty awesome. Turn your creatures into X/X, and you'll have a lot of mana. Why not? Just burn it into that mana sink. Omnath, Locust Rage. Pretty awesome. Like, so this is kind of a pseudo landfall deck, and your red green creatures, and you know, this basically becomes a slot in the deck. Omnath, Locust Rage. You get additional creature tokens, and then when they die, you'll have 3 damage, basically a lightning bolt to the face. Overlord of the Hauntwoods is amazing. Just a great card in general. Gets you more mana on ETB, or when it's attacking, you get an everywhere token that counts as every single different land type. Shalayan Halar, also a great card. You know, I think I've seen or I've heard people tell me, oh, you can combo out with Shalai if you do it the right way. I haven't quite figured out what that is, and if I do, maybe I'll throw that combo in, but I think it's just a great card in general because you're putting so many counters on creatures, your land creatures. Smeller Bee, just, you know, in the sense of trying to keep a little bit of the Avatar theme going, I threw this in here because I pulled it and I thought it was pretty good. Again, you might be in a position where you're hellbent and you just need more cards, and then you have a lot of creatures attacking, so you might as well benefit from that. So it's either this or, say, something like an Orin Frostfang, where you deal damage. But I thought instead of the land creatures connecting, there was always the chance that you would prefer just having an attack trigger, and that's what Smeller Bee does. Yeah, I think it's great. Whenever Smeller Bee attacks, you may discard your hand, and if you do, draw cards equal to the number of attacking creatures. So generally speaking, if you're hellbent and you have like 5 or 6 creatures and Smeller Bee attacks, hopefully you want Smeller Bee to attack into a player that doesn't have that many creatures to block it to kill it, so you can just draw. Then, of course, you have the other Tophs that are in the deck, right? And just a reminder for people that at least used to play Commander back in the old days, you can have as many of the same creatures in the deck as long as they have different names. So even though you have a Toph as a commander, you can have Other Tophs, like this, the Greatest Earthbender, which gives your creatures double strike, and then Hard-Headed Teacher. And, you know, it's crazy because this card, you know, even though I don't play a lot of instants or sorceries in the deck, it's just an amazing card. I don't get why it's like so cheap. I mean, it's a rare, okay, I get it, but like this is even crazy playable. Like you don't even need to have the trigger where if the spell is a lesson, I don't even care about lessons. I just care that if I cast a spell, I can Earthbend 1. So if I have some infinite combo already being played out, then I'll be able to make all of my lands into creatures after Earthbending. And it doesn't say that it triggers once per turn, so I think this card is underrated. Then we go into the Vorinclex package, just to round out the the green and white Predators. I decided against putting Urabrask in here because I just didn't really think it really did much in terms of what the deck is trying to do. But your Vorinclex Monstrous Raider puts counters, double the amount of counters on stuff that you control, and then halves the number of counters being placed on stuff that your opponents control. So an amazing card. I mean, it's natural that this would be in this deck. And then just a little bit more into the land kind of, you know, doubling and getting all the mana that you need and sinking it into things like Kamal or, you know, the other card I mentioned, Mirror Entity. Right, you want a lot of mana, play things out, and then, oh, by the way, you could sink it into things like Walking Ballista too. Sorceries, Fiery Confluence, damage, dealing, destroying artifacts, etc. That's kind of some of your interaction. Finale of Devastation is great because you could search out, with a lot of mana, you could search out your Walking Ballista, you could search out your Predators, you could search out you know, pretty much anything else that you want to have on the battlefield melee. Hour of Revelation is awesome. I can't believe, you know, when I first saw this, I was like, oh my god, this card is amazing. And I just felt like if I bought up several copies of this in foil, one day it might just be worth a lot more. It turns out it started to get some traction, I think, probably because of the Toph deck. And I regret not buying more foils of these because now they're in the ballpark of $10 each and beyond for your foils. Shamanic Revelation, your creatures are going to be, a large number of them are going to be have a greater power than 4. So you want to take advantage of the draw from that. 10th of Discovery, I think this is a great card. A lot of people are like, man, this card sucks. Hell no. I mean, how many people are playing Strip Mines and Wastelands, and how many of them are actually going to want to bring those out? I don't think a lot of them do. I think what they would prefer to do is just bring out a land that they like. And yeah, you get a maximum of 4 lands, but I think generally speaking, if an opponent is behind on their mana curve, they wouldn't mind having another land in play. These 2 cards, they're interesting. And really what I wanted out of this was the old border version of the cards. And what I found out was the old border version of the cards in foil are crazy expensive, so I opted out. But it allows you to at least have some blockers. What I found out was if you were powering out very quickly with your earthbending creatures, that it might not be a bad idea to have just tokens, so you can use them as either blockers, or you could mana sink into your Mirror Entity to have those creatures have higher power and toughness greater than 1. Crop Rotation, again, one of the game changers, but naturally speaking, if you have a lot of creatures, you're probably going to just search out a Crop Rotation. Earth Shape for your earth bending, but also kind of like your minimalist version of your Teferi's Protection, in a sense. Or I forget the name of that white card, but that allows your creatures to become indestructible. Enlightened Tutor, so when you Enlightened Tutor, what you want to get out of it are those artifacts or enchantments that you need to try to win you the game. one thing I end up doing if I'm inline tutor early on, like turn 1, I'm probably just going to search out a Soul Ring. So Soul Ring, always, if you could get it, turn 1 or 2 is always great. I'm just going to push right through all these other artifacts, Arcane Signet, well, maybe Bootlegger Stash, I'll talk about this. So your lands, or your artifacts that have now become lands because of Toph, you can have them tap to create treasure tokens, right? But the thing here to take note of is Toph only applies to your non-token artifacts when she turns them into lands. So your Bootlegger Stash, which will generate tokens, those tokens can create additional tokens because they are tokens themselves. But Bootlegger Stash is a great card. I remember when this said like $30, everyone went crazy for it. And then it got reprinted, and then people found out that it wasn't that great because it's 6 mana. And so now it's down to like a measly $2 and foil, etc. Chromatic Lantern, Commander Sphere, Hedron Archive. Horn of Greed is awesome because if you have like an Ashaya in play and a creature enters the battlefield that you play, instead of you having it get placed there, you know, there's a difference between playing versus having an ETB. This doesn't take advantage of the ETB, but if you play a creature that happens to also be a force, you can draw a card off of that. Liquid Metal Coating to basically protect your Toph a little bit. Mana Vault, just for the mana, and this is a combo piece. Basically, if you get Soul Ring, Mana Vault, or Mox Opal out, and you have Storm Cauldron, you net infinite colorless mana, which you could feed into either your mana sinks or things like Staff of Domination. I skipped over Oblivion Stone and Perilous Vault, but I just want to point out what they do. Since your non-token artifacts are also lands, if you decide to do a board wipe, it will wipe everyone else's board but yours. Hopefully your Toph has been turned into an artifact like what Liquid Metal Coating does. And you can either destroy or you can exile via Perilous Vault. Staff of Domination, something I want to point out, which is really cool, is not only will you end up using it to basically draw out your deck, but your Gaia's Cradle, which might already be a land, you can just tap out and just create infinite green off of that, and then gain infinite life. I think people forget about the infinite life gain, so that's something to take note of. Storm Cauldron, yeah, I mentioned this earlier, but I've always wanted to play this card. I always thought it was just a shitty card on its own. Then when Toph came out, this is literally the one card that I was like, I still have this in my collection. I want to play it. I think it's awesome. So whenever you tap a land, which if Toph's in play, your Soul Ring or Mana Vault will tap as an artifact, but also taps as a land. You get to return it to your hand, and then basically repeat the process, and it's pretty amazing. Infinite colorless. The Banyan Tree, you know, you could probably do the same thing with that. Just basically play it out for 2 green each time, and then just gain infinite life. Urn of Godfire. So honestly, I was looking for some other versions of removal. This ended up also being a mana sink. So if you had your colorless mana that are available and you needed your colored pips to be paid for, you could do that from its first ability. But you could also use it for sacrificing it, destroying stuff. Okay, Annie Joins Up, great card. Basically triggered abilities, trigger again, especially if they're, when they're from legendary creatures. It also hits something for 5 damage. Exploration, Greater Good, Hardened Scales, Ley Line of Abundance, Solid Ground, Terra Symbiosis, the Legend of Kyoshi. So great utility, earthbending, card draw, +1/+1 counters, right? I think it's great. Terra Symbiosis especially is pretty freaking awesome. So you'll be able to draw cards. So it also, I want to point out that it's a MAJ, so you don't have to trigger it the first time a counter gets added to something. You could trigger it when, let's say, you Earthbend 8 with Kyoshi, right? Let's see, where's Kyoshi at? Lady Kyoshi. Lady Kyoshi. Jesus. I am not seeing certain things going on here today for some reason. Where is she? Oh, Avatar Kyoshi. My bad. Yeah, so you can draw 8 cards off of Avatar Kyoshi's at the beginning of combat trigger. And if you had something otherwise earthbent earlier, you could just wait it out. So Terra Symbiosis is amazing. Great draw engine. And then I have 33 lands. I'm just going to skip through all of them because it'd probably be better to just look at them on the screen. So we're going to transition to that. So let me do that really quick. But I need to make sure I turn off this face cam. And then go to the next one. All right. Oh, yep, and we're back to that screen. So we want to make sure this other one turns on. Where is it at? Where's it at? Okay. All right, so need to turn this off. And yeah, it's still doing the weird thing. Okay, so what we want to do is we just want to look at the cards. Because one, I don't like proxies, and if I do, it's on in very, very special occasions, or for which I would. But if I'm playing a deck that I love, I do not want to play proxies. So I want to show off a little bit. Let's do that here, and let's turn this thing off. Turn this on. Yep. There's some weird stuff going on with this. Okay, great. You won't see my face though, so I'm gonna have to fix that before my next stream. All right, so let's look at the cards because I think it's really cool. If you're not familiar with the Stanley Toolbox boxes and cases, the ones that would normally fit things like nuts and bolts and nails, they're great for storing your cards and your decks, so I want to just call that out. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so we got Toph again, right? That's the main card. And we'll look at the Planeswalkers. I already talked about the 2 of them, what they do. So we got those. Badger Mole Cub. And, if I can buy things in full, I will. And I hopefully try to get them at a good price. So I remember picking this up for about $45. I think who knows? It might. Hopefully, it survives standard, but it's an amazing card. Avatar Kyoshi, Earth Kingdom General. So this is the Earthbending package, right? Everything Earthbending. Earthbending Student. Toph, the greatest Earthbender. So I love this because it gives your land creatures double strike. And I talked about Toph, hard-headed teacher, infinite combo enabling. Well, maybe it doesn't enable it, but your infinite combo enables this, which enables your land creatures. Boomy Unleashed, pretty awesome. So you get an extra combat combat step, an additional combat phase, and then only land creatures can attack. Boomy gives your land creatures +2/+2, or 2+1/+1 counters, just to be clear. Metalworker, obviously amazing card. Soul Ring on a stick. Great Divide, Chromatic Lantern on a stick. Your Overlord of the Haunwoods. So you want to have more lands out there that can do things. And you can get them from the Everywhere token that it generates either through the attack trigger or the ETB. Ashaya, turning your non-token creatures into also lands, which allows your board wipes to be more effective. Hamza, I mentioned, was pretty awesome. Cost reducer. Maria for when you're hellbent and you need cards that you can play from the top of your library. Almas, Locus of Rage for your tokens and your lightning bolts to the face. Your Vorinclex, Elish Norn, pretty self-explanatory what they do. Awesome abilities. I think I put this other enchantment in the deck previously, but I thought it was a little too mean. It It was called not Nature's Revolt, Living Plane, the reserve list card. I could put it back in there if I wanted to, but I decided to just put it back in the collectible binder. Shalai and Halar, your other 2 Praetors with Phyrexian text. Forgotten Ancient, get your counters. Walking Ballista for more of your counters. Angel of the Ruins for your artifact and enchantment removal. Kamal and Mirror Entity, as I mentioned, are good for mana sinks. Bright Glass Gearhulk for your searching out shenanigans, and then you can play it again if it dies, if it's Earthbent. Smeller Bee for your card draw, more of your card draw. Esper Sentinel, Shamanic Revelation for more card draw. Fiery Confluence for a little bit of your removal for not just pesky creatures, 1/1s, but also opponents. And if you decided to, you could also try to end opponents. So this could be 6 damage to the face. 10th Discovery, I mentioned it before. Great card. Probably searches out things like, I would say, Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, Gaia's Cradle, Ancient Tomb, as you need to. Finale of Devastation for your searching out shenanigans. They'll get +X/+X if you do have X being 10 or more. So if you really want to, you could just search out something less than 10, just right out the gate. But so you don't have to pay 10 if you don't want to. But then why not? Because it'll give your creatures bonuses. Hour of Revelation, amazing card, as I mentioned before. Really perfect for this deck because all your stuff ends up becoming lands. Then your stuff gets protected, your opponent's stuff does not. Aura Mutation and Artifact Mutation for your artifact and enchantment removal. Earthshape, Enlightened Tutor for searching out. Crop Rotation for the same type of thing except for lands. Your non-land removal that ends up being pretty much one-sided. Staff of Domination, of course, if you play this, there's a good chance you have some sort of infinite combo potential, infinite mana potential. Horn of Greed, talked about that. Memory Jar is pretty awesome, reserve list. And you could draw 7 cards. Just do it at the right time because your opponents also get 7 cards. Zernorb, amazing card. I remember just like messing around with kitchen table magic and playing this with like Fastbond, trade routes, whatever, all, and then I think Crucible Worlds. Those are not in the deck. Obviously, Fastbond's banned in CD and Commander. Liquid Metal Coating for the reasons I previously noted. And yeah, I think I didn't quite talk about some of these other ones like Hedron Archive, which you can sacrifice like Commander Sphere to draw cards, but they'll net you some mana. These 2 we talked about, and then these 3 cards, if you combine with your Storm Cauldron, you get infinite colorless mana. Expiration, Hardened Skulls, get more counters, draw power from Terra Symbiosis. Double the mana from creatures that can tap for mana, just like your Badgermaul Cub. And this, I think, is another slept-on card because you could just have it enter the battlefield in your opening hand. But then if you have a lot more mana, which you probably do, you can get counters put on creatures you control. So it's counter-heavy in this deck. There's a lot of really cool cards that allow you to draw. Bene Supremo, which is greater good, except this is the art used for the Sheldon Memory Secret Lair. And then we're finishing out with the land package. Of course, you need to have your tri-land called Jimir's Garden. Command Tower is a must. Jungle Shrine. Then you get into some of the other lands that are higher mana. Mana Positive, Ancient Tomb, then Utility Lands, Wasteland, Reliquary Tower. Urza Saga is great. Because when Urza Saga leaves, if it's Earthbent, you can bring it back into play and then continue to getting all the artifacts and things that you best utilize Urza Saga for. Flagstones of Trocaire. So one thing I'll mention here is this is great for Earthbending because you'll be able to get planes from your deck if this ends up leaving play. I'm sorry, when it dies, not leaving play. Oh yeah, I want to mention with Toph, the thing that's great about Toph is that that land that's earthbent, it doesn't have to just die. It could also have been exiled. So if there's an ability that exiled that card, it would just bring it back into play. When it dies or is exiled. So it's not one of those things where at least play it has to be either dying or exile, having it been exiled. Flagstones, it dies, search out of planes, put it into play, and it's actually, it's immediate, right? So if you earthbend this several times, you could get the most out of it by putting a lot of planes in your, from your deck into play. Abandoned Air Temple, keeping a little bit with regards to the theme of Avatar, and gets +1/+1 counters on creatures you can on each creature you control. This will give you earthbending, pretty awesome. And then you have my Cradle of Growth, Gaia's Cradle, and then in these 3 color decks, I try to at least have at least one single normal basic land. So there's your red, white, green. And then I mentioned the artifact lands, which are great if you have like Metal Worker out. You could reveal these because they're artifacts. You can add 2 colorless for each time you've revealed them. And then your typical fetch land package, the Naya fetches, the Naya shock lands, your Naya filter lands, your Naya battle bond lands, and then of course your Naya dual lands. Okay, so that is the deck in a nutshell. I hope you all enjoyed that. If you have any questions about the deck or want to know a little bit more about it, feel free to reach out. I'm actually going to go ahead and put it in the chat right now so you can take a look at it a little bit more. I think what we're going to do is, because we have a little bit of time, let's put it in the chat right now. Deck list for Toph. Because we're there right now in that part of the stream. Just throw that in there. There it is. And let's do a little bit of playtesting because I think that's cool. We want to do a switch over from that to this other one. So I want to turn this on. Yep, I want to turn that on. And then display that. I think it should be active now. We're going to do a transition. All right, so playtest maybe for 30 minutes or so. Check out how Toph, the First Metalbender does, and y'all can figure out whether or not it's a pretty sweet deck. All right, cool. And where are we at? Looks like it's buffering. All good. Yep. So later this afternoon, I'm actually going to play out. Why does this look like this? It looks really funky. I want to play out. I don't think I want to play Toph with my pod later today. However, I think. Yeah. Why is this doing this? Moxfield. Open up Moxfield. It's weird. Okay, I think I'll just add another one. Moxfield. Yep, that's cool. Okay, there it is. We'll get Toph in, and then today I think I'll play Cedrus in one of my pods. I think it's great. I will also play Azami, and then what else did I want to play? Okay, we'll just pick one. We'll say Damia. So we got Toph. And let's get some music going. Jeez, really quiet in here. All right, maybe some Avatar music. I don't know. What do y'all think? Avatar. Let that play out in the background. Put it on low. Yep. So we got Toph, we got Damia. Yeah, Moxfield's great. I really like the interface that they provide for, you know, if you wanted to play test out your decks. All right. And this is a pretty rough hand. So we're gonna have to reset that, restart that. Arcane Signet, no, we don't want that. 1, 2, 1, 2, oh. So now I'm down to 6, I guess I'm gonna have to go to 5. This is okay, I guess, so drop this one, probably drop Smeller B. Yeah, that's okay. And for Zami, we'll keep that one. Yeah, these all seem fine. All right. And, you know, usually I don't go with Urza Saga right out the gate. I think I usually try to play it turn 3, is if you do it too early and you can't Earthbend, then it's just bad juju. Always play Shocklands first if you can, because if you have nothing to play, you know, you want to let it enter tapped. Yeah, good thing. And while it's probably a good idea to keep up white mana, I'm just going to search out Jedmir's Garden. To use for Aura Mutation. I'm not going to do that though. I might miss a few plays, but it's all good. You guys might be able to catch me and let me know in the comments. Dioda Soja, sweet decklets. Thanks, brother. I'd like to think it's a sweet decklets. It's all right. It's all right. Okay. Do I do Urza Saga turn 2? Yeah, I do a turn 3. This is what I wanted. All right, that's cool. And it's not like I was technically forecasting that this was going to happen, but Propaganda is a great card, and it's definitely a target for Aura Mutation. Okay, what I want to do is I want to have Notion Thief come out before I play Windfall. The Yoda Soja. What? Do you have a Toph necklace? If you do, share it. Let's see what you got. Show me what you got. I think it's okay to play out a Pernicious Deed. Yeah. Here I'm going to end step Aura Mutation. Hit that Propaganda. I don't want to have to keep paying 2 mana. It's going to be annoying. Plus you get 3 saplings, which is cool. Fuels your Gaia's Cradle. Alright. Obviously there's no Gaia's Cradle right now. This is the perfect time to play out Toph, though, because you want to Earthbend Urza Saga. Okay, so there's 2 chapter counters on it, and then there's 2 at the end step, 2+1/+1 counters on it. It's gonna die on my draw step next turn, and I can have it be repeatable, finding stuff out again. All right. 3, 4, 5. I think it's okay to do this. Play Azami. Alright. And I'm just gonna hold up mana for Notion Thief later, because in a sense it's kind of crappy for it to die early. I'll probably do it in response to Azami, Lady of Scrolls getting tapped. I will hold a mana. Okay, draw step. This will die. But do I want to make a construct? No, I'm not gonna make a construct. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna search out a Soul Ring, put that directly into play. And then it's gonna come back because of Earth Bent. It comes back tapped. And I could play out a land. So let's play out to the Ancient Tomb. 2, 3, 4. Toph, Earthbending, or Hard-Headed Teacher. So let's do this. 2, 3. So I can Earthbend something right now. Let's do the Urza Saga. And then Badgermaul Cub I'll put on Soul Ring. Alright, so what can I do? I guess I could swing in. Don't want to aggravate the Damia player, so I'll swing in towards Notion Thief, or no, towards Cedrus. That's 3. Actually, I'll also get in with Toph. We'll go towards the Azami player. You guys mostly play of combat damage as the win con and try not to play salty cards, just casual fun. Stasis Coffin. Yeah, I've seen Stasis Coffin. Yeah, I think I should check that out because I did some research on this deck a little bit, but I want to give it my own spin. And I think Stasis Coffin was there, but I was like, man, that's kind of lame. I'm just gonna not do that. But I am always open to check out deck lists. So I appreciate you adding that to the comment section there. The soda. The Yoda soda. Alright. How long have you been following the channel, brother? Cool. So that happened. We had a colors floating. We attacked. That mana went away. So now we go to the end step and trigger Toph, which I think it's probably fine to put it on. Let's put it on Ancient Tomb. Cool. All right, we're gonna tap to draw a card, but we're gonna play out a Notion Thief. So instead of that draw happening, is it the first card or is it the first card that they would otherwise draw? Okay, so they skip that draw and then I draw. Yeah, that kind of blows for the Azami player. That's all Azami wants to do is just play or to draw a lot of cards. What is the right call here? Yeah, nailed the pronunciation of the name. Okay. What do I do here? Yeah, playtesting, I forgot to mention, but what I like to do is if I'm not at an LGS or I'm not playing Commander on Spell Table and I want to play test a deck, I just do it on Moxfield. So I probably play it a few times initially and then just kind of, enhance it, build it up, improve it. But what you are seeing right now, at least, is what I think is the closest to optimization that I would like to have on my decks. Okay, so we don't quite like Notion Thief. We don't quite like Notion Thief. For now, I think it's okay to play out an extra planar lens to get the mana. Yeah, man, that Pernicious Deed, I think it's gonna blow up the world. There's just so much going on with Toph that it just seems natural. Okay, 2, 3, transmute, muddle, and what am I gonna get? I'm gonna get something that kills Notion Thief. For 2 mana. Wonder if that one thing is in this deck. Is that Fate? Fate? No. Gosh darn it. Hell yeah, retired Marine Corps. Yeah, those cards are done by my wife and her sister, so I appreciate you following the page. Yeah. You're in Okinawa and you're in Yokota. You're currently stationed in California. That's really cool. I was actually at Yokota. I was at Yokota from 2020 to 2023. Visited Okinawa a couple times. But yeah, Yokota was amazing. Just being like right outside Tokyo. So my oh, you said you're Marine Corps. I was just thinking that you might be an Air Force guy. Right on. Stasis, coffin, being salty. Yep, I could definitely see that. All right, what am I searching for here? I'm searching for. I thought I had that one card that just exiles a creature that's 2 mana. I guess I don't. I'm gonna have to figure out another way to do away with the Notion Thief. Maybe do I have rapid hybridization? I don't have that either. Okay, well that's a gap, I suppose, in this deck. Guess I could just get a Cyclonic Rift, just for the hell of it. Okay, and I'm unable to draw a card, so I'm not gonna be able to do that. I think, though, it's probably a good idea to force the Damia player's hand. Play that out. And... oh, this is interesting. I guess it's time to do it. Ah, very cool. Yeah, great duty station. Tachikawa, yeah, I think there was a shop or two that I hit up, but if you're at Yokota, you probably went to the one right near this train station, just right outside in Fusa. The guy's name is Shoichiro Kawakami, if you remember the LGS owner, really good dude. Okay, I'm gonna drop this Windfall, and I think this is actually gonna force. Well, it doesn't have to force my hand. Maybe I just blow something up. Destroy target mono-colored creature. Yeah. I want to destroy the Azami just for the hell of it. Because I'm just going to hold up mana to just blow up the world anyway. Yeah, you know, also check out AMP, the Alliance of Military Magic Players, our group there. There's really, like, we had a really solid group of folks from Okinawa join the group. And then also we had some of my admins, my fellow admins, they came out of the Okinawa group as well. So yeah, check that out. I think that's always an option. All right, so we're windfalling because we have an Ocean Thief, because why not? And I think this is actually the time to play out Cyclonic Rift. Yep. Yep, show, yep. Yeah, he didn't do Commander too much. You're right about that, Shoichiro. Good dude. Yeah, Yellow Submarine. There's also some other really cool ones in Akihabara. Out in Tokyo. Probably you went and checked those out. Notion Thief goes up. And you know what? It probably is a good idea in response to that thing to do the Pernicious Deed as well. Okay. So that means everyone discards their hand and then draws 6 cards. Wow, actually that was kind of rough, but so 6 cards. No Notion Thief. The stack happened, people responded to it. And now the Toph player is just a lot more primed to do more things. Yeah, what's the name of those 2 shops that I checked out in Tokyo? Pretty much all the time when I was in Akihabara, they had like the best selection. It wasn't even like Hararuya and Takada no Baba. I went there a couple times, but it just seemed a little too lively for me because I just wanted to focus on buying cards. Okay, cool. So, yeah, Cyclonic Rift. All right, that happened. Shock this in. Okay, yeah, I don't know. There could have been a bunch of misplays there, like if I was actually thinking about what I was doing instead of just reacting. Alright, so this ticks up 1. Play this out. I don't know, how do you play test? Do you play test in person or do you do anything interesting? How do you do it? Hardened Scales, Earthbend again. Earthbend here. So now my Badger Maul Cub will allow this to tap for 2 mana. Now this is in play, so it's going to give more counters on stuff. A red and a green. Let's call it, yeah, red and a green. Float the red. This one will give a counter to something. Yeah, Toph, Hard-Headed Teacher is just so good. I don't know why it's like so cheap. Like whenever you play a spell, you Earthbend 1. I didn't trigger its first ability though. Because really I don't care about that. I just care about the Earthbending. I think it says that I can do it. Yeah, it doesn't say it triggers only once per turn. That's why this card's amazing. So I have a red floating, but now because I have Hardened Scales, that ups that to 2. And I want to use, so we'll go 1 red, green, green. That's 3, 4, 5. Actually, that's gonna. it's a creature now, so that's 4, 5, 6. 6. I'll do this. That Earthbend something. Do that. So I think I have a colorless left. Yeah, this is gross. This is just straight up gross. Colorless left. Already Earthbend something. That's 2 mana right there. That's colorless and 2 mana. Played this out. Put a counter on that. Oh yeah, this is just gross. Super gross. And I guess if I wanted to, I could just play or tap Ancient Tomb for a construct. Just for the hell of it. I'll do it later. Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. Like playtesting, it's just a matter of time, like the amount of time you're able to spend, or you're willing to sacrifice. Like if you don't have time to go to the LGS or don't have time to line up a game, like I just love doing this. This is just it makes me start thinking about the game. It makes me start thinking about the choices that I make, all those things. All right, so we're definitely gonna attack. This time we're going in towards, it's probably fine. Oh, there's all these triggers. All these triggers for Ristic Studies. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, at least four draws. Yeah, don't feed the Ristic Study player. Do not do it. Well, I guess I'm just gonna have to attack into them. 1, 2, 3, 6, 9. 9 damage. And Badgermole Cub also came in too, so that's an additional 2. Yeah, that's fine. Boomy. Yeah, Boomy, whenever he does the combat damage. So previously we had those guys out. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, Boomy, I'm sorry, the Toph deck is getting out of hand. Yeah, the Gruul Toph, are you referring to the hard-headed teacher? I mean, I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. Alright. Dream Halls. Damn it. Yeah, think about every time you trigger Earthbending 1, every time you play a spell. It doesn't even have to be like an instant or sorcery. It could be anything. Okay, so now it costs 7 mana to play out Azami. 2, 4, 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I guess. Azami's cool. Now, actually, no, I'm not going to do it that way. I think I'm going to do it like this. 2, 4, 5. Lay out Dream Halls. Discard High Tide. To play Azami and then tap for 2 because of the commander attacks. Let's see. 1, 2. Yeah, that's fine. Draw a card. I think I'm gonna discard it this way. Play Impulse. Okay, good thing. Good thing I did an Impulse there, because that would have been 4 straight turns. Or at least 2 turns with the drawing of the Zami. And then you put 1 into the graveyard, I think? Oh, 1 on the bottom. Okay. 1 on top, 1 on bottom, and then 1 in your hand. Oh, you put 1 in the, and then the other 3 are on the bottom. Okay. Yep, that's fine. So 1, 2. Yeah, so draw 2. Okay. Opponent discards a card, draw a card. Oh man. Okay, discard this. Play on a Kopolos. Discard this. Play Cedrus. Huh, maybe. I wonder if Dream Halls would actually be good in my Cedrus deck. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's some cool things happening. And just pay 1. And draw 2 over here. That's cool. Okay. Oh, this is gross. This is really gross. Okay. Is Underground Sea in the graveyard? Maybe it is. Let's get a tropical island. Discard that. Bring out Grave Titan. I've always debated Dream Hall as being in Damia actually. Just never seemed to make the cut because of the 3 color combination. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they're missing land drops. Man, there's just so much going on. Drop rotation for Gaze Cradle naturally. 3, or it's 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go 2, gain a life, who's alive, 2, 4, gain a life, who's alive, -2 for this. I don't really need use that last one and then a damage. I don't really need Damia right now because I have Ristic Study out. Gain a life again. And I don't think it's going to stop the onslaught of land creatures and things. But there's going to be Mirror Entity doing some badass base power stuff. Oh no, is this where it happens? So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I think this, does this go away? I think this goes away. Comes back. Okay, this is where it happens. What's my favorite commander at the moment? Honestly, it's really hard because what I have been doing is I've already completed the 32 deck challenge. But what I've been focusing on is the alphabet challenge. And what I mean to say about that is basically every letter in the alphabet, building a commander based off of the first name of that commander is one of the letters of the alphabet. So the only one I'm missing right now is X, and I know there's a lot of X type creatures and all that, but I've decided that none of them are really appealing to me. But if I would say my favorite commander deck, I mean, I always generally hone in on one of the two, Yidris Maelstrom Wielder or Captain Sisse. I love playing. Yeah, no, it is. 32 deck challenge is awesome. It's all the color combinations possible. But then my next goal, as I mentioned, is the alphabet challenge. So that's 26 additional decks. Or if not 26 additional decks, it's more like 26 decks. If I hadn't had those letters of the alphabet already named, then that was great. If not, it's just waiting to be built, right? So I think I'm close to like 58 decks or something anyway. It's awesome. I love Commander. I love Magic. Just having the ability to just play out all the cards that you own, and new cards come out. They're awesome. You want to keep playing. You want to have a good time. Okay, so I think we're finishing up. It turns out we're gonna go infinite here. The idea that we're going for in this is to play out Storm Cauldron. Now, I think just for the sake of time, because I have some other things going on. Oh no. Turns out, even with that Force of Vigor in the Damia player's hand, that I probably can still win as long as they don't draw off of a Ristic Study to play it. There's no other green cards in his hand. Alright, so we're gonna try it out, see what happens. So we can go 3 colorless, or 2 colorless, and then the extra green because of Badger Mole Cup, so that's 3. And then we're gonna go 4/5. Play Storm Cauldron. Now, not knowing that there's a green card in the other player's hand, I probably am not gonna pay for the Ristic Study, or maybe I would. So 1, 2, 5. Maybe I would. I guess I should. But let me first put a counter or 2 counters on something. 1, 2 for the earthbending. Yeah, I'll pay it. Sure. Or we'll do it this way. 3 colorless. A colorless and a green still floating. Pays it. That's fine. Nothing happens. Oh wait, no, I'm not going to use a Sol Ring for that. I'm going to use this. So it's 2, 1, 2. Yeah. Okay. Now we go infinite, or I guess we'll tap for Mana Vault. That way, it could always pay for Ristic Study. Yeah, this is the funkiness of playtesting, because certain things are in hand, but you don't want to like think that you have the answer. Because like if I kept drawing off of Ristic Study, it'd just be a bad day for the top player. But if I was playing it smart, not knowing there was a Force of Vigor in that player's hand, I would just be done. So there's a little bit of, I guess you could say, bias involved in trying to playtest this way. Alright, so we're going infinite with the colorless Mana Vaults things happening, and then making creatures get Earthbent and whatever. I'm not going to focus on Storm Cauldron, anything, but we are going to make our creatures infinitely big. And then just see what happens. Yeah, pretending. Yep, it's just a weird situation, because even before I did Moxville playtesting like this, I did a bunch of playtesting, just laying out actual physical playmats and then playing the physical decks on them, but I didn't have enough space to try to do 4 at the same time. Okay, so we have infinite colorless, which nets me infinite creature power and toughness. And at least I can go in with Boomy and kill the Damia player. Everyone else will just get killed because there's no blockers, or yeah. So Boomy's gonna come in, and these other dudes are gonna come in. Yeah, I mean any one creature will just kill off the zombie player. And then more than 2 creatures have to kill off the Cedrus player. And then just gonna not have Toph attack. Okay, so that was one-sided. It's all good. We went infinite colorless with Mana Vault, Storm Cauldron, and we did a mana sink of Mirror Entity, turned every creature I controlled with X/X, which was infinite/infinite, killing everyone. Okay, that's fine. Dream Halls was cool, but it wasn't good enough. And yeah, I think there were some misplays, but it's fine. We got a chance to see Toph in action, and I hope you all enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed the deck tech. Hope you enjoyed the visual. And then also the playtesting. This way I do it on Moxfield. I think it's pretty cool. Just gives me another opportunity to work out just enjoying the game of Magic without necessarily the gathering. Okay. We are transitioning away from that, and we're going to do closeout. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. And I appreciate the 6 or so folks that are watching right now. This is amazing. Just having any amount of support for the channel, not just Sublime MTG Altars, but for the Painter Servant on the Grindstone. Of course, check out all the socials that I'm on, all the socials that my wife and her sister are on for Sublime MTG Altars. We did play testing. That was the last thing that we just did. We checked out Toph, the First Metalbender. The Night deck was pretty cool. Went infinite. It's awesome. I love Magic. Just in general, I love Magic. And then if you are part of the 6 or so people that came because you were watching and wanted to see the altar highlights, we did show the Ghostly Prison, which was after the Ghost in the Shell character Major Kusanagi. We showed that. That was the one that Kumiko did, but I don't have that on hand, unfortunately, because that's still in Japan, waiting to be shipped to the buyer. But because we're here, I want to show the other altar that was previously or just recently done by my wife, Michiko, and it's on Rhythm of the Wild, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, the Ohmu just charge, that one scene, and this is on a foil Rhythm of the Wild. So the really cool thing about this, I believe, is the fact that the Ohmu eyeballs, with the basically glass casings or whatever, they're shining red, and that's very well accentuated by the foils in there. This is packaged and ready to go, just in case anyone's interested and wants to buy it. PM the page and we'll get you hooked up. We'd like to get it in the hands of people that would enjoy it and get to a good home. So there's that. With that, of course, everything that's on the chat is already showing all the socials. I appreciate everyone stopping by and enjoying the stream. If you are going to connect back up with us again later, consider checking out the Commander games that I have lined up for the rest of the afternoon and the rest of the evening tonight. And see you next time. Thanks.